listeners, welcome back to Meshcasters on Air. I'm your host, Faith, and today here with me is Adeline. In this episode, we'll be discussing an important topic that should constantly be on the minds of brands: how to outsmart your competitors.
Yes, I mean, in this increasingly connected world where brands are constantly competing for consumer attention, brands will need to pay more attention to employing strategies that will enable them to stand out from the competition and grab the attention of the masses.
That's right, it's important for brands to carve a unique positioning for themselves in order to stand out from the competition and appeal to the audience. But before identifying an appropriate positioning for your brand, it's crucial to understand where your brand stands among others and making the effort to understand what your competitors are doing.
This reminds me of the Chinese saying 知己知彼,百战百胜, which means know thyself and the enemy to emerge victorious. What brands can do is to identify their positioning in the industry and counter-check with consumer perceptions about the brands. Identify any perceptions gap and conduct consumer research to distill the facts contributing to these facts itself. With this information, you can then proceed with devising consumer-centric strategy to close these perception gaps.
Now that is knowing thyself, what about thy enemy? Before outsmarting competitors, brands need to identify who their competitors are and what they are doing. This can be done through conducting thorough competitor research and consolidating this information into a consumer perceptual map, which represents consumers' brand perceptions. Consumer perception maps are useful in sieving the most crucial information to focus on, rather than being overwhelmed by too much information you have about your competitors.
The consumer's perceptual map is a marketing tool which helps marketers identify a brand perceived positioning among other brands in the market. There are two axes used for this perceptual map, the X and the Y axis. Before creating this map, identify what are the two criteria you want to use for the axis. The factors that you choose to plot your map will paint the different story. Hence, they should be chosen based on the product attributes you want to focus on when comparing your products with your competitor, such as price or quality. Based on these two axes, plot the graph with your product and that of your competitor. Keep in mind to compare apple to apple for fairness in comparison.
One thing to keep in mind is that there is no right or wrong, or so-called model answer to consumer perceptual map. How closely it reflects consumers' perceptions depends on how you plot the maps. Putting in the effort to prepare a consumer perceptual map helps you identify your brand positioning among competitors and devise solutions to outshine them by targeting areas of weakness of your brand. With that said, what constitutes a good competitor analysis?
A good competitor analysis is one that helps brands answer an important question: why should I buy from you? To answer this question and successfully convince the consumer to make the purchase, identify your product unique selling point through a competitor analysis and benchmark your brands against competitor in the market. Leverage your product USP to appeal to consumer. Here is a food for thought. If a product has no differentiation in terms of USP, does it mean that the brand should not launch the product?
Our take is that products need not have actual differentiation all the time, especially in industries that are highly saturated and challenging to create actual product differentiation constantly. In such situations, brands can still launch such products with a focus on perceived differentiation, which can be acquired through marketing efforts. To identify an appropriate perceived differentiation for a product, you will definitely require information about your competitors and what they are offering, as well as your current consumer trends, so that the perceived differentiation resonates with your audience. Hence, it is important to note that a competitor analysis should constantly evolve to reflect the most current state of the industry you are in, and keep yourself updated about the latest threats and opportunities to your business. Keep in mind to always understand your competition first to come up with effective strategies to outsmart your competitors. We hope this episode gave you a clearer idea on how to conduct competitor analysis and why they are so important if you want to gain an edge over your competitors.
At Meshwire, we help a client unearth insights about their brands through conducting thorough market research and competitor analysis, which then allow us to create and curate strategies that are the most effective for them. If you are a brand and not sure where to start, reach out to us on www.meshwire.com.sg today. Keen to listen to other episodes on Mesh Customers on Air? Subscribe to our Spotify channel now and feel free to explore our carefully curated podcast series just for you.
That is all for today's episode. Thank you for tuning in and we'll see you in the next episode. This was Mesh Customers on Air. Goodbye.
Bye!